It's a new day. I've actually left the car out on the drive overnight. I've just turned it round, so I haven't really driven it. So we'll just see what the water's like on the boot. Yeah, see, it's creeping in over here. Let's just do the squirt test that people talk about. Right, there's definitely less in there than the other day. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to put 3 holes underneath here, on the underneath of this, to see if it will drip back. But it's certainly going up and in on this plastic rim here, so it's leaking in there. Could it be, I've heard people mention that possibly adjusting this down so it pulls the boot down more, that this keeps. So something I may look at if these measures that I put into place don't work. I'm now going to strip this off so I can have a look at this carpet here. There's a pipe work back there for me to have a look at, possibly under here, that's unclipped for the washer. I hope that that is the case, because that would solve, I think, a lot of the problem, but we'll have a look. I will report back. Okay, so I've pulled the carpet back, and I believe this is the connector that we're talking about. Now, it was connected. I can't see any brakes at the moment. I'm yet to have someone sit in the passenger seat or driver's seat and pull on it. What I can tell you is, down here there is a slight collection of moisture, which is green, the same colour as my screen wash, and is bitter, from the Bitex safety product that they put in there to stop children drinking it. I'm going to mop this up because obviously it's around wires, so that's something I'm not too happy about. So I'll just give that a good mop up now before I test, and then when I test it I will have a look at this in detail and see if there's a crack in the pipe. So I'm guessing it comes from here in this part of this loom, and then goes up here, up inside here, comes out here, and then feeds up to the motor in that route. So I'm going to have a little play, see what we can find. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, what I've done, I don't know if you'll be able to see this actually or not, is using a very new sharp Stanley knife. I've just put some little slits at the bottom here. I was trying to poke holes in it, but to try and get a nice clean exit was proving quite difficult. So I think these slits will work. As soon as I cut them, water was trickling out. I've put 3 in, and there's this hole at the top here, and all this water started to trickle out. So I'm hoping that they will work, and I will then, now I'll take the wheel out and I'll take all the water that's collected in there. I'll show you what's collected in there actually, and I'm hoping that this will stop the water from ingressing in and going possibly down here into the footwell, but I'll show you what I've got in the footwell. Okay guys, so the plot thickens. First of all, nice little feng shui water feature in there, quite a bit of water in here. That's probably collected over a few days actually, so it's quite a lot, but we've had an awful lot of rain like the rest of the country. And I was thinking about this last night. Now this vehicle has got a tow bar on it, and I thought, well, maybe they've bolted it in a way that the water's coming in. Well, they haven't bolted it in a way that the water's coming in, but this here is the wiring loom coming in from the tow bar, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but this mastic here is no good, and this is wet. This wiring loom over here, don't know if you guys can see, I think this is original to the car, this smaller wiring loom. If one of you guys can confirm, that's good. There is water inside here as well. So there was a bit of mastic in there. What I will now do is I'll put this grommet back in, and I will put a lot of mastic in here. I'll strip all this old mastic off here, and I will re-mastic around here. I'm just going to use a standard clear mastic. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I've got on me, so that's what I'll use. I'll empty this water out. And I think that will solve the problem, as well as the drip sorting out. I've got these cuts here now, and they're draining out perfectly now from this side. There was a lot of water in here, but there's not anymore. So this is all empty of water. This is all drained out. So yeah, that should solve this problem. This side of the car is dry. Obviously this side of the car is still wet. I'm yet to get someone to help me pull that off, but I've done that. I've dried up all the excess that was there. So I'll now dry this all out. I'll peel this mastic off and sort that out. So I'll be back. Okay, next piece of the puzzle. So I've cleared as much of this mastic off this grommet as I possibly can. What I can tell you is this aftermarket grommet is nowhere as good a quality as this grommet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just lacquer this up with a lot of mastic. It's not going to look pretty, but you're never going to see it anyway, so I'm not worried about that too much. Given the nature of where this comes in, I can't get my mastic gun on the other side of it, so I'm going to give this a real good coating of mastic. I'll probably squirt a bit in there as well and just give it a good coating of it. I've got very good mastic for this, so I'm hopeful that it will work. If it doesn't work, does anybody know of a better quality grommet? That will also probably mean that I'll have to undo the loom somewhere to thread it down to this point. I've never had a tow bar on a car before, so this is all a learning curve for me. And I don't know where I'd be best to disconnect to get the loom up and in. I'm guessing probably on this side. I don't know where this goes to. I don't really want to disturb it any more than I have to. So that's the next stage, is to just mastic this. I'm also going to whack some mastic in here as well, quite a bit in there, and I'm going to just really coat this up. It ain't going to look pretty, but I'm hoping it'll get the job done. Okay, so I did say it wasn't going to be pretty. Alright, a nice load of fresh mastic in there. I've got it all around the edge at the top, inside as well. In here I've just basically pretty much filled that up, gone round it as well to seal it in. On the other side of here, what I did is I just basically squirted a load of mastic into my hands, obviously with some latex gloves, and I kind of manually put it around the outside. Now whether that's going to do it or not, I don't know, but I certainly think it's got a good chance of it. I just want to let this stuff now set for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and in the meantime I'm now going to try and work on the issue that we've got over here with the pipe. I'll see if that's got a split in it anywhere. What could be happening is there could be something going on up here, and maybe it's then rolling, when I've got the boot open, it's rolling back down, going down the pipe and going down the wing, because that does look stained, that metal down there, like a tinge of green, but that could be an old stain from when I had the original problem, which I solved by putting in a new motor. It may look like there's puddled water everywhere, but there's not. It's just from where it's been stained green from the products I use for my window screen wash. Anyway, I'll be back. Okay folks, so I've now had a helper. Let me just drop this. Can you give me a hand so we can squirt the screen wash as I'm looking, and this joint is not leaking at all. There's no leak on this joint, and when it's being pumped I can feel the water coming this way and going that way, and there's no leak there whatsoever. While we were doing it, I obviously kept an eye, see if there was anything coming through here as well. Admittedly I had the boot open when I did the test. Now as I've mentioned before, as I've mentioned before, I had to replace this motor because the original one broke and it was leaking fluid everywhere. And when I did that, obviously I had to take this part off, and whenever I was moving the boot up and down, you could hear the water that was being captured in here moving up and down. I don't have that anymore. There's no water coming through the lock here or through here on the low points like there was before, and I'd know that because it would be green and there's just nothing coming through anywhere and it's not dropping down anywhere. So what I potentially think is, from that original problem, is that I think that because there was so much water filling up in here, although this is the low point here, the it would go back down this tube, go back down here, and then it would come back down the arm here and down this wheel arch, and it would collect here. And I think that this is residual, which I've now dried off, and I will monitor and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to put this all back, and we'll just keep an eye on what's happening with the mastic issue in here. This is now developing a skin, so it's not quite dry, but it's doing its job. That needs another 20 minutes on it to harden off. I'll then put everything back in, and I'm just going to monitor it, and I'm hopeful that this will solve the issue. So this has got a little bit more drying off to do, not much, but I think it's definitely a lot better than it was. But I'm going to keep an eye on that, and I'll obviously keep an eye on this, so I'll drive it around and I'll then have a look in 48 hours time. Right, any feedback, let me know.